It's no secret that the game Yandere Simulator isn't the pinnacle of character design. Or game design. I told myself I wasn't gonna shit on this game in my video. Okay. I, personally, don't like the game. But after following what you could call the development of the game in its earliest years, it's always fun to think about how the characters could be improved on. As you can see, I didn't start recording until after the sketching process, but I figured there was still enough content left to fill the runtime. Just letting you know that this won't be the norm, and in future videos I'll try to record the entire process. With that all being said, let's get into it. Taking a look at her design, there are a few things that I like. I think the colors are nice. The orange ombre hair kind of reminds me of fire, which is really the only visual thing that clues us into her personality. And I think it looks nice with the pink colors they chose for her little scrunchies and her socks and stuff. I also like the way that they gave her more of a cutesy aesthetic. You can see this in her accessories, and if you're really digging for compliments, the charm on her phone case is pretty cute. All of this shows the player that despite her harsh demeanor, she prefers a cute and feminine look. That being said, I only know about her personality because I briefly followed the game development. Character design should try to accentuate everything that makes a character a character. It's like how a good caricature looks more like the person than the person themselves does, if that makes sense. The artist takes out the empty details that don't really add anything, leaving just an exaggerated version of everything that makes that person unique. When I look at this character design alone, the assumptions I would make is that she looks popular, like maybe she would have a lot of friends. The warm colors in her palette makes me think she might have a positive or bubbly personality. Looking at how well maintained her hair is, I would say that she cares a lot about appearances and is probably into the beauty scene. But she probably doesn't do any sports or other athletic activities because trying to do anything with that hair seems like it would be such a hassle. For example, if she tried to ride a bike, at the very least her hair would drag on the wheels, at worst it could snag on something or get caught in the chain. While that was my attempt to try to look at this as someone who's seeing Osana for the first time, I'd like to get an outsider point of view just to see what they would think. That being said, this is my mom, and I'm gonna see what she can guess about this character. Just for reference, these are the pictures I provided. I'm using screenshots from the game because while the concept art aids the design better through facial expression and posing, it was created as a basis to be implemented into the game. In normal circumstances, a new player would only go off cover art and gameplay, and we only have one of those things, so that's what I'm going to use. Here's what she had to say. Okay, so this is my mom, and she's going to give us her thoughts on this character. What do you think, Mom?
Is this a knockoff of Sailor Moon?
No. No.
Okay, so my first impressions is it's a knockoff of Sailor Moon.
Okay.
So this chick she's cute and she's sassy and she might be a little bit of a bully.
Oh, okay.
Her eyes look kind of mean, but she's very stylish.
Uh-huh.
And she is sassy. I can tell by her red hair that she's kind of sassy. And she could be like that friend of the main character that goes either way, either good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's what I think of her. And she's got a cute outfit. I don't know, it's kind of a Donald Duck kind of vibe.
Yeah. I don't like it either.
So, I don't know.
Okay.
She's cute.
Alright, that's awesome. Thank you. So, giving credit where credit is due, I was really impressed with the conclusions that my mom came to after looking at the design, and I saw that they were definitely different from my attempt at a first impression. While it's possible that I just look into things a little too much, I do think that both of our comments hold water. I still think that Osana's current design wasn't conveying her personality as well as it could, so that's going to be my main focus when making the adjustments. While making these changes, I was very careful to keep the parts that people recognize her for, like her color palette and her ponytails. I guess you can consider this a safe redesign in that aspect. That being said, I chose to give her a slightly different hairstyle. I kept the fiery ombre that they gave her, which I mentioned earlier that I really liked, but I changed the length to make it much more sensible. In anime, for the most part, the extremely thick twin pigtails just look so ridiculous to me. I like it on Miku, but that's about the only character I can think of right now. This is more than anything just kind of based off my personal taste, obviously, but then again, this whole video is subjective to what I like, so take this whole thing with a grain of salt. Another qualm that I had with her hairstyle, though, was that it was so refined and rounded. I'd figured I'd make it more spiky and unruly to match her temperament, while still making it look like she makes an effort to tame it in the morning. As far as faces go, I chose to make her eyes a little meaner and give her some cute little freckles. I don't see freckles very often in anime characters for some reason, so I try to make a point to add them in when it feels right. You don't see this right now because I added it in at the very end, but I put a band-aid over her nose to give her a bit of an intimidation factor, I guess. In my mind, I think that the more the player sees of her, they'll start to understand that she's misunderstood rather than someone to watch out for. I'm also using this detail as a way to pull from the childhood friend aspect of her character. Not only is she unreasonable and stubborn, but she's also kind of a klutz that throughout the week has different scratches and bruises that she tries to cover up with band-aids. She lets the students believe these rumors that she got in a fight with someone because she's just way too embarrassed to admit that it was an accident. As cliche as it is, I think this opens up the possibility for some cutscenes or interactions between her and the love interest where he's helping her with bandages and stuff like that. As I talked about before, I started recording late, so I haven't really had a chance to talk about body type yet. If you're aware of this game, I probably don't have to tell you that there's only 2 body types in this game. And that would be this and this. When drawing up sketches for this little project, my original idea was to redraw the first 3 rivals so I could put more into perspective the diversity that could be possible. So height-wise, I know it's hard to see, but I wanted her to be kind of middle-of-the-road height with a pretty skinny figure, specifically taking away her upper body curves that she has in the game. Being the childhood friend, I didn't think there was really a reason to sexualize her in that way. While I didn't make her particularly muscular, I did make sure that she had at least a little bit of definition on her legs. I just think that it makes sense that her and Senpai would ride their bikes home from school together every day as a part of their normal routine. It's just likely they would have done this since they were kids. This also gives the player kind of the option to take Osana's place once she's removed from the situation, and actually gives them a chance to talk and get to know each other a little bit. Okay, I know these segues have not been the smoothest, but moving on to our relationship with Senpai. This Osana is much nicer to the love interest. In-game, her personality basically boils down to she is mean to Senpai because she likes him, which makes her so unbelievably unlikable. It makes more sense for her just to be defensive or mad when discussing topics that make her uncomfortable. Things like him asking her who she likes, or him expressing interest in other women, holidays like Valentine's Day, those all might be touchy subjects for her. You know, she can still be impatient with him or rude sometimes, but not outright mean and annoying like she is now. Knowing how long they've been friends, he'd probably just call her out on it and maybe even stop hanging around her. There's no reason he should spend so much time with someone who just constantly berates him. When choosing the color for her socks, I had so much trouble because it just felt like no matter what color I picked, nothing was looking right with her hair and her uniform. I ended up accidentally clicking on the skirt when I was trying to fill the color of her backpack, and I realized that I liked the brown so much better than I liked the blue, and it kind of solved a lot of the color issues I was having. Honestly, I feel like the blue and white sailor uniform is a little overplayed anyway, so I was very happy to see this new uniform change. I also added some cute little pins on a shirt to just really drive home the fact that she doesn't want to be seen as this mean, scary girl. She's just defensive and suffers from a bad case of RBF. I also repurposed the random ribbon on her head and tied it to the handles of her bag. I imagine that there are more pins and maybe a charm on it as well, but it wasn't really placed in a way that would let me explore it. Okay, so I brought my mom back and she's gonna tell me what she thinks about this version and her assumptions about it.
Let's do it. Oh. Okay, so this chick has a chip on her shoulder, but I don't think she's inherently mean. She's actually like kind of beaten up, maybe an orphan, something like that. But she goes to a formal school of some kind, and she goes to school. She doesn't have a lot of friends, but hell, she don't need a lot of friends. So you don't mess with her.
Okay.
Period.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't mess with her. But she could be a very loyal and good friend if you can get past that hard veneer.
Alright.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, I think that's pretty much all that I have to say for this character. This is my first YouTube video, if you can't tell. I just want to say that, oh wow, it is so awkward to just sit in your room and record alone. I know YouTubers always say that, but it's just so uncomfortable to actually do it for yourself. So I'm sorry if that came through the audio a little bit. Hopefully, the longer I do this, the easier that it gets and the less uncomfortable I sound, I guess. But yeah, feel free to tell me what you like or dislike about this design in the comments, or if you disagree with anything that I said. I'm not a master in character design or anything, I'm really interested in it. I'm in college for art right now, so I just figured that this could be a fun platform for me to just talk about random things that I like, I guess. If you have any suggestions on what character I should redesign next, feel free to comment. I guess that's about it. I hope to see you in the next video, and now I guess you can just sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the drawing. Thank you.